Hare Krishna. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Vihari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Yashodanandana Jaya Vrajajana Ranjana Jaya Yashodanandana Jaya Vrajajana Ranjana Jaya Jamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Vihari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Yashodanandana Jaya Vrajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari. Shri Shri Radha Madhav ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Kalachandji ki jai. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. My name is Tulsi Saki Devidasi, and today we'll be reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 4, verses 1 through 19. This is the entire chapter. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. I offer my obeisances to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Can we read the translation again? Oh my Lord, the all-pervading Personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Narayana namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudiraye. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the Personality of Godhead Narayan, unto Nara Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta Praesha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the Personality of Godhead, praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Om Jnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. I was born in the darkest of ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. All right. So we have verses 1 through 19, and how we'll do is we'll read, since most of this is in prose, we'll read the translation, and maybe we can pass the mic along, and then I'll try to summarize the purports as we go along.
Text 1. Sri Shukadeva Goswami said, as soon as the Lord was born as the son of Maharaj Nabi, he manifested symptoms of the Supreme Lord, such as marks on the bottoms of his feet, the flag, thunderbolt, etc. This son was equal to everyone and very peaceful. He could control his senses and his mind, and possessing all opulence, he did not hanker for material enjoyment. Endowed with all these attributes, the son of Maharaj Nabi became more powerful day after day. Due to this, the citizens, learned brahmanas, demigods, and ministers wanted Rishabhadev to be appointed ruler of the earth.
Okay, so here are some points on the purport word that King Rishabdev had transcendental signs on his feet. So those of us who have doubts, we can look at our feet and make sure we don't have those transcendental signs. And he was equal to everyone and did not favor anyone. So then that is one of his attractive qualities. And he possessed all opulences, wealth, knowledge, beauty, fame, and renunciation. And he was self-controlled, and therefore he was liked by everyone. Next two.
When the son of Maharaj Nabi became visible, he evinced all good qualities described by the great poets, namely a well-built body with all the symptoms of Godhead, prowess, strength, beauty, name, fame, influence, and enthusiasm. When the father, Maharaj Nabi, saw all these qualities, he thought his son to be the best of human beings, or the supreme being. Therefore, he gave him the name Rishiba.
Rishabha means the best. So that was part of text 3.
Indra, the king of heaven, who is very materially opulent, became envious of King Rishabhadev. Consequently, he stopped pouring water on the planet known as Bharatvarsha. At that time, the Supreme Lord Rishabhadev, the master of all mystic power, understood the King Indra's purposes and smiled a little. Then, by his own prowess through Yoga Maya, his internal potency, he profusely poured water upon his own place, which is known as Ajanaba.
Yeah, so here in the purport, it was described that Rishabdev is the original Bhagavan, and so he supplied water. In Kali Yuga, there's always a scarcity of water, and the scarcities are mainly due to our lack of sacrifice and due to our ignorance. And if we follow the recommended process of hearing and chanting, doing Sankirtan, then the scarcity will be removed. Right?
Due to getting a perfect son according to his desire, King Nabi was always overwhelmed with transcendental bliss and was very affectionate to his son. It was with ecstasy and a faltering voice that he addressed him, "My dear son, my darling." This mentality was brought about by Yoga Maya, whereby he accepted the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Father, as his own son. Out of his supreme goodwill, the Lord became his son and dealt with everyone as if he were an ordinary human being. Thus, King Nabi began to raise his transcendental son with great affection, and he was overwhelmed with transcendental bliss, joy, and devotion.
Okay. So our focus verse is verse 5, but we'll read through verse 5 and all the way through 19 and then come back to 5. So if someone wants to read the translation for verse 5 as well.
King Nabi understood that his son, Rishabdev, was very popular among the citizens and among government officers and ministers. Understanding the popularity of his son, Maharaj Nabi enthroned him as the emperor of the world to give protection to the general populace in terms of the Vedic religious system. To do this, he entrusted him into the hands of learned brahmanas who would guide him in administering the government. Then Maharaj Nabi and his wife, Meru Devi, went to Badrak Ashram in the Himalaya mountains, where the king engaged himself very expertly in austerities and penances with great jubilation. In full samadhi, he worshipped the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayan, who is Krishna in his plenary expansion. By doing so, in course of time, Maharaj Nabi was elevated to the spiritual world known as Vaikuntha.
Verse 6.
O Maharaja Pariksit, to glorify Maharaja Nabi, the old sages composed 2 verses. One of them is this: who can attain the perfection of Maharaja Nabi? Who can attain his activities? Because of his devotional service, the Supreme Personality of Godhead agreed to become his son.
This was 6, right?
The second prayer is this: who is a better worshiper of Brahmanas than Maharaj Nabi? Because he worshipped the qualified Brahmanas to their full satisfaction, the Brahmanas, by their Brahminical prowess, showed Maharaj Nabi the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana in person.
After Nabi Maharaj departed for Badrik Ashram, the Supreme Lord Rishabhadev understood that his kingdom was his field of activities. He therefore showed himself as an example and taught the duties of a householder by first accepting brahmacharya under the direction of spiritual masters. He also went to live at the spiritual master's place, Gurukul, and after his education was finished, he gave gifts, Guru Dakshina, to his spiritual master and then accepted the life of a householder. He took a wife named Jayanti and begot 100 sons who were as powerful and qualified as he himself. His wife Jayanti had been offered to him by Indra, the king of heaven. Rishabhadev and Jayanti performed householder life in an exemplary way, carrying out ritualistic activities ordained by the Shruti and Smriti Shastras.
I'd like to draw some comparisons here before we move on. Since we have our wonderful school, the TKG Academy, which is our Gurukul, so here we can see Rishabhadev also, although he was the Lord himself, did not have a need to get an education, but he set the example of getting an education, going to the Gurukul. And I also want to draw parallels to the Kishori Yatra, the wonderful Kishoris that are here, and how they are, counseled by six or eight wonderful counselors. And so these are these 22 young girls, but because they are under the shelter and guidance of, like here we're seeing their Gurukul teachers, they are their counselors, and they are guiding them so expertly. The children, you can see, are very happy and very enlivened, and I can see such a change in my own little Kishori. So it's just proof of the pudding, yeah. So you can see how wonderfully under expert guidance the Kishoris are able to bloom and blossom. That was the parallel I wanted to draw. Thank you. Next.
One of Rishabhadev's 100 sons, the eldest named Bharata, was a great exalted devotee, qualified with the best attributes in his honor. This planet has become known as Bharatavarsha.
Following Bharata, there were 99 other sons. Among these were 9 elderly sons named Kushavarta, Ilavarta, Brahmavarta, Malaya, Ketu, Bhadrasena, Indrasprik, Vidarbha, and Kikata.
In addition to these sons were Kavi, Havi, Antariksha, Prabhuda, Pipalayana, Avirhotra, Drumila, Chamasa, and Karabhajana. These were all very exalted advanced devotees and authorized preachers of Srimad Bhagavatam. These devotees were glorified due to their strong devotion to Vasudeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore they were very exalted. To satisfy the mind perfectly, I, Shukadev Goswami, shall hereafter describe the characteristics of these 9 devotees when I discuss the conversation between Narada and Vasudeva.
In addition to these 19 sons mentioned above, there were 81 younger ones, all born of Rishabhadeva and Jayanti. According to the order of their father, they became well-cultured, well-behaved, very pure in their activities, and expert in Vedic knowledge and the performance of Vedic rituals. Thus they all became perfectly qualified brahmanas.
Being an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Lord Ra was fully appended because was spiritual, eternal, and full of transcendental bliss. He eternally had nothing to do with principles of the material misery, birth, death, old age, and disease. Nor was the material attached. He always equipped those, and he saw everyone on the same level. He was unhappy, others are unhappy. He was a well-wisher of living entities. Although he's personally a personality of Supreme Lord in control of all, he nothingness or an ordinary consumed soul, and therefore he strictly followed the principles of Vaishnava Dharma and act accordingly and do the course of principles Varmas Dharma. It became collective for the personality, the characters of the behavior. He taught the ignorance how to perform they do the Vaishnava Dharma and regulate the household life and belonging and developing religion and well-being attached to sons and daughters of the material pleasure of life by his instructions, but it showed how people could remain household, same time become personally the principles of the Vaishnava Dharma.
Yes, so here we see how Lord Rishabdev was fully independent, and he established the the Varnashram Dharma so that all the citizens could practice Varnashram Dharma and graduate to basically performing spiritual activities and be released from the cycle of birth and death.
Text 15, whatever action is performed by a great man, common men follow.
The next one, you can go ahead and read the next.
Although Lord Rasvadeva knew everything about confidential Vedic knowledge, which includes information about all types of occupational duties, he still maintained himself as a Kshatriya and followed the instructions of the Brahmanas as they related to mind control, sense control, tolerance, and so forth. Thus, he ruled the people according to the system of Varnashram Dharma, which enjoins that the Brahmanas instruct the Kshatriyas and the Kshatriyas administer to the state through the Vaishyas and Sudras.
Yes, so here in our temple we have a very good example of that. Our temple president, Nrsingarupa Prabhu's spiritual master, actually happens to be living, right in the neighborhood. And so he gets wonderful counseling and guidance from his spiritual master and all the spiritual masters that visit us, so that we can receive guidance and counsel. So we can see how when, management is getting counsel from the spiritual leaders and gurus, then how well everything can run and function.
Text 17. Lord Rishabdev performed all kind of sacrifices 100 times according to the instructions of the Vedic literatures. Thus he satisfied Lord Vishnu in every aspect. All the rituals were enriched by first-class ingredients. They were executed in holy places according to the proper time by priests who were all young and faithful. In this way, Lord Vishnu was worshipped, and the prasada was offered to all the demigods. Thus the functions and festivals were all successful.
No one likes to possess anything that is like a wheel or the flower or a flower in the sky. Hello. Okay. Okay. For everyone knows very well that such things do not exist. When Lord Rishabhadev ruled this planet of Bharatavarsha, even common men did not want to ask for anything at any time or by any means. No one ever asked for a will or the will. In other words, everyone was completely satisfied, and therefore there was no chance of anyone's asking for anything. The people were absorbed in great affection for the king. Since this affection was always expanding, they were not inclined to ask for anything.
I just want to quickly pause and see how many of us feel like we don't want to ask anything and we're so satisfied. Do we have, maybe we have some moments in life like that, but most of the time we're always wanting something. What's the next thing? So with Lord Rishabdev ruling, everybody was so satisfied that they just didn't have a need to ask for anything else. 19.
Once, while touring the world, Lord Rishabhadev, the Supreme Lord, reached a place known as Brahmavarta. There was great conference of learned Brahmanas at that place, and all the king's sons attentively heard the instruction of the Brahmanas there. At that assembly, within the hearing of citizens, Rishabhadev instructed his sons, although they were already well behaved, devoted, and qualified. He instructed them so that in the future they could rule the world very perfectly. Thus he spoke as follows.
And then this is the end of the chapter. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the 5th canto, chapter 4 of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Characteristics of Rishabdev, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We'll go back to 5. Since the Sanskrit is in prose, we'll skip the Sanskrit. Translation again. King Nabhi understood that his son Rishabdev was very popular among the citizens and among government officers and ministers. Understanding the popularity of his son, Maharaj Nabhi enthroned him as the emperor of the world to give protection to the general populace in terms of the Vedic religious system. To do this, he entrusted him into the hands of learned brahmanas who would guide him in administrating the government. When Maharaj Nabhi and his wife Meru Devi, went to Badrik Ashram in the Himalaya mountains, where the king engaged himself very expertly in austerities and penances with great jubilation. In full samadhi, he worshipped the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Naranarayan, who is Krishna, his plenary expansion. By doing so, in course of time, Maharaj Nabhi was elevated to the spiritual world known as Vaikuntha. So I'll go through the purport in a bit. I wanted to just share that recently we were visiting New Badrik Ashram, as Srila Prabhupada named the Denver Temple. And the Kishoris also were at New Badrik Ashram. It's very beautiful, but I can agree to the fact that winter, New Badrik Ashram becomes very, very austere. And my personal realization is even that little bit of austerity, when we practice that austerity and offer our devotional service to Krishna, there's a sweetness in our practice of Krishna consciousness that we can taste because of the additional austerities of being in the high altitude covered with snow, etc. So there's just a parallel to going to Badrik Ashram. So if we can't go to Badrik Ashram, I recommend everybody go to New Badrik Ashram and practice some austerities in winter and come back to Dallas, then we will really appreciate. Maybe we won't feel so bad in the heat. All right, so we'll go. So in the purport, okay. Let me just see. Okay, I'm just going to break into the purport from where it's okay. This is the way of Vedic life. One must stop the process of repeated birth and death and return home, back to Godhead. The words Tan Mahimanam Avapa are significant in this regard. Srila Sridhar Swami says that Mahima means liberation in this life. We should act in such a way in this life that after giving up this body, we will become liberated from the bondage of repeated birth and death. This is called Jivan Mukti. And so then in the purport, it breaks down the 8 different symptoms. The first symptom of one so liberated is that he's freed from all sinful activities, apahata papa. As long as one is under the clutches of Maya in the material energy, one has to engage in sinful activities. Bhagavad Gita describes such people as dushkritina, which indicates that they are always engaged in sinful activity. One who is liberated in this life does not commit sinful activities. Sinful activity involves illicit sex, meat eating, intoxication, and gambling. So I feel Prabhupada here has kind of rescued us, because when we think of sinful activities, there's so much that we could say, okay, this feels like it's a sinful activity, but Prabhupada has broken it down for us and mentioned these 4 regulative principles of illicit sex, meat eating, and intoxication and gambling are the 4 sinful activities we abstain from, and then we refrain from sinful activities. Another symptom of a liberated person is vijara, which indicates that he is not subjected to the miseries of old age. So I feel when I was meditating on someone who is liberated, someone who I consider liberated in this world, again, when we went to visit New Badrik Ashram, we have a Prabhupada disciple, a local saint, Mother Nidra, and she has been practicing for over 40, 50 years now, and nobody has ever seen her get upset. When we draw parallels to, they are not subject to the miseries of old age, for sure, she is, in an older body, but she's not subject to the old age in the sense that she's always, every day she goes out and distributes books, no matter what the season, how hot or how cold it is, she finds time to go out and distribute books. She's always there in the full morning program. Previously, she was, doing the full arti, and then now she has reduced those services, but she's always in the full morning program, always present for the devotees. So even if the body has, progressed, her activities, her services to Krishna, there is no change, and it's always blissful to be in her association. Anybody wants to share their experiences of how old age impacts devotees, or what their realizations on this has been? Anybody? Okay. Krishna Prabhu?
Yeah, I was just thinking about someone that we know here in Dallas. She's getting back in a few days, but Prabhupada Priya, she has like thrice as much energy as I have somehow. Like you see her in a kirtan and she's like all over the place, and yeah, I don't know, it's just like, I guess she's very healthy, but also like, devotees, they don't slow down. Also Chakri Prabhu, he's also he's like jumping around during kirtan, and like I get tired, but he doesn't. It's amazing to see.
Yeah, even Chandramali Swami, the way he dances in kirtan. All right, so we'll move on to the next symptom. Another symptom is vimrityu. A liberated person prepares himself in such a way that he does not take on any more material bodies which are destined to die. In other words, he does not fall down again to repeat birth and death. Another symptom is vishoka, which indicates that he's callous to material distress and happiness. This is something that we all aspire to have in our lives, to be absolutely callous to material distress and happiness. But I think from my personal life, I feel there's at least a little understanding when we have situations that cause us misery or situations that cause us great happiness. At least this is an understanding, and we share amongst our friends, this too shall pass. And so basically, at least in the beginning stages also, at least there is an understanding, if we're not completely callous, that this too shall pass. Another is vijikhatsa, which indicates that he no longer desires material enjoyment. Another symptom is apipata, which means that he has no desire other than to engage in devotional service of Krishna, his dear most pursuable Lord. A further symptom is satyakama, which indicates that all his desires are directed to the supreme truth, Krishna. He does not want anything else. He is satya sankalpa. Whatever he desires is fulfilled by the grace of Krishna. First of all, he does not desire anything for his material benefit. And secondly, if he desires anything at all, he simply desires to serve the Supreme Lord. That desire is fulfilled by the Lord's grace. This is called Satya Sankalpa. So these are all the symptoms of someone who is liberated here. And we can see these symptoms in the devotees to varying extent. And these are certain symptoms that we would like to also experience in our lives someday, some life. At this point, would anybody like to share, any experiences they've had about, their desires to serve Krishna, and realizing that if they have that desire, Krishna somehow has fulfilled that desire?
Satya Sankalpa was reminding me of Jadvaita Swami. My parents get to serve him, and anything he never wants anything. And when they ask, what should we make for you to eat? He has little Krishna Balaram deities, and he'll say, I think Krishna Balaram is thinking like this, or they want this to eat. And everything that he talks about is always related to his deities and never about his own personal desires. And sometimes he'll just be like, I don't think I need to eat today. I don't have any other service to do. And he's just thinking of Krishna. And it reminded me of the Satya Sankalpa that you were explaining.
Thank you. And then, go ahead.
I was thinking on this line that Prabhupada says, whatever he desires, he is fulfilled by the grace of Krishna. So when I was in Ottawa, and I had been in the brahmachari ashram for a long time, but over there's not really a brahmachari ashram. It's very much like a grihastha community. And so basically they were kind of slowly pushing me in that direction and being like, you should start working and you need to pay rent and these things. And I was just like, okay, I guess I'll go to school. But then I was like, really what I just wanted to serve Krishna. I just wanted to be a brahmachari and just serve Krishna or serve the temple. But there wasn't really a scope for that. So I was kind of like, okay, I'll go to school. But then I get a message from just a Dumna Prabhu there, and he's just like, hey, we need an ashram leader in Dallas. And it was so simple, and I just, talked a little bit Nanda Braj Prabhu, a little bit to Mother Padma, and then I'm here. And I'm so grateful. So Krishna really fulfilled my desire. It was amazing. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Anybody else like to share their spiritual desires being fulfilled? I can give another example. So since the Kishoris are here, I'm not much of a Bhagavatam speaker. This is my second official class. Busy raising these Kishoris. So when we were in Denver, we were really wondering how to raise our children in Krishna consciousness. And being a working mom, I couldn't homeschool my children. And so Mother Nandini, she was like, why don't you come to Dallas and check it out? And it was like, Dallas? And, we were living in beautiful Denver, Colorado, and had never visited Dallas. So we came during the festival season, Kirtan 50, and we were blown away by how beautiful the festival was. And what really got our attention is all the generations practicing Krishna consciousness together. There were seniors, there were little kids, there were youth, grihasthas, everybody practicing Krishna consciousness together. And then we had the opportunity to go see the school. And I literally started crying. I was like, this is what I want for my children. But I'm so set in Denver. I have a job that is 5 blocks away from the temple. My house is just 1 street over. And everybody's well situated. How do I move to Dallas? And literally we were praying, and sure enough, Krishna facilitated, and we found some occupation engagement to help us move. And within 6 months of our moving, we found a home, like just walking distance from the temple. And the kids were very happy to be in school, and made wonderful friends. And sure enough, 5 years have passed, and now they are in the bus tour together with all these wonderful Kishoris. And this is such a wonderful experience. Some of the girls that are here, I knew their mothers, and I met these little girls in LA as just like little babies, and then we moved from LA to Denver, and Denver to Dallas, and now I see that they are in the bus tour. It is so wonderful that this whole Kishori Yatra with the counselors, just like we read, I was reading Lord Rishabh and I was just drawing the parallel of the bus tour, because when there's counselors, there's the leads, Jai Shri Radhe and Manoram Prabhu, who are facilitating and who have the vision to guide the counselors, who in turn are guiding the Kishoris. It is such an ecstatic, wonderful experience, and I can see it in the faces of their children, the austerities that they take, sleeping in the bus 4 weeks. I mean, before that, when they're at home, they just, even to pick up their plate from the table and put it away, it's such a big deal. And now they're like, clearing all their plates, and they're showing their counselors, look, we've eaten everything. It's just the training when you are under good counselors, and when you are with your peers that inspire you to achieve more and to dedicate, and the performances they come up with. That is so mind-blowing. When did they have the opportunity to practice and to tour the whole country and go to Canada? And so all these wonderful things they did, and it was just seemed so effortless because of the wonderful association and guidance. So I would like to take this opportunity to thank this program and encourage to keep going, keep doing what you're doing. I hear from the children that they want to come back to it, and I know it's such an austerity. The bus breaks down, and then that needs to be fixed, and programs need to be, altered on the fly. How wonderful and how inspiring it is to witness this, and to feel, okay, maybe we can also, do something similar and help those that are already doing these. And I want to also call out that yesterday I was listening to Prema speak in class, and I was like, this is so perfect that she is giving the Bhagavatam class, because when she was going to high school, some Kishori encouraged her. And now we have Prema amongst us giving Bhagavatam class. And so all these Kishoris are going to high school or in high school, And it is their opportunity to bring in their premas in their life into the lives of our community. So we can grow, not just with the Kishoris, but the premas also, and have this organic growth in our movement. So would anybody like to add to any points, any reflections, questions? Jagranga Prabhu?
I liked in the purport where it said that they performed austerities and penances very jubilantly. That was like, because normally you think of penances, austerities as like, you know, intense sacrifice or something dry or hard to do. But they did it not just jubilantly, but I think it said very jubilantly. So that's like the natural bliss of the soul comes out when we engage in devotional service with happiness, with jubilation. That's all.
And what comes to my mind is the fast day for Janmashtami is coming up, and how I see devotees, even despite their fasting, they're cooking up feasts and they're serving so many devotees and doing such excellent decoration and kirtan despite it being a fast day. So the jubilation while performing austerities is a parallel. Yes.
I was just thinking about performing service and being of use to Srila Prabhupada. And one time an older devotee asked me, "What's your service?" Like that was the question he asked every person he met. What's your service? And whether that is I'm a mother raising children, or whether that's I'm a teacher, or I'm in school to make Srila Prabhupada proud of me. Like whatever it is, it's like, I think that's something we should all be able to answer if someone asks you, what's your service? What is your life of meaning and purpose? What are you doing, cultivating? To be able to actually reach liberation, all these things that we're talking about, it means that there's practice, there's something. And so it comes with awareness that you first have to ask yourself, what am I doing? What's my service? At any age, no matter if you're little or older. And it evolves over time. Obviously, we change and grow and develop. But it's a good question to reflect on and ask yourself.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you for a nice class. And I really like that point. What's your service? And along with that, what's your purpose? Because the purpose, what our main service is might change. I'm in school now, maybe I'll be a mother, maybe I'll be a teacher, like that. But the purpose is what will be the thread throughout all of these things. Why am I in school? Why am I a mother? Why am I a teacher? Why am I a pujari? Should the purpose Srila Prabhupada outlines for us, to please Srila Prabhupada, to please Krishna, ultimately. So, and we have to. That can't just be something that we're told and we just accept it, and it has to be something that we realize and desire to do, and we want to know what it means on deeper and deeper levels. Yeah, it has to come from the heart. So, what's my service? What's my purpose?
We can end on this point. Jai. So anybody else has any questions? Prema's okay, it's not time yet. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Bye!